Deus Volt, my fellow gamers. Here I have an update of the dwarf army that I had received, secondhand style. Okay, so I'll give you kind of an overview of what's going on. I guess the first thing you're seeing is my steel behemoth. It's in all kinds of pieces. It's okay. I kind of, when you tear down stuff to fix it, things break. So I snapped off the two forelimbs because they were touching really close to these. I couldn't get in there to do any cleaning. There's all kinds of glue, puddles and whatnot. It's just a hot mess right now. This horn was disjointed. It was pointed all the way down. It looked deflected. This face is still really messed up, but there's no real way to fix that unless I go in and start doing some sculpting that I just feel right now is unnecessary. So that will probably be turned into battle damage, which is perfectly fine. It's the face of something that's ramming into the enemy, so that should be good fun. What I want to do, pop off these two guys. I think I made a separate video just of this model, so I'm gonna skim over it real quick. This is for the other stuff in the army and a quick update of what I've done. So, all right, we're gonna fly over. So right here, we've got a core group of I guess the hammer units or shield breakers, I believe is what they are. One thing I don't like about these models is that hole there, like not enough plastic was pushed into the mold and gave you an air pocket. That and the back gaps, that's terrible. Some of that might be because it wasn't cleaned properly, but also it could be it's just a bad deal. I mean, look at the bad sculpting there. It's just a big blob underneath there. It's a problem. Well, I mean, they're budget models. Let's be honest, Manta Games are budget models, and they're also two-piece, like slapped together kind of things, and I despise those types. Hopefully they make new dwarf models. I don't know if they will or not. It seems like they're more interested in making new armies. The Ritterforge orcs and halflings are a good indication of that, instead of going back and kind of making more nicer models. Very bad. So those are my shield breakers. Over here I have a group of shield breakers as well that I have all the pieces to, including heads that pop off, and the hammers and everything. They're all there. They're complete. So what is this? 3, 7, 8, 9, 10. So 10 plus 15, 16, 17. No, 10, 14. So 14 and what do we say? 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, so about 25, 24 guys. Pretty strange numbers how it comes out, but I might take some of them and port them into this unit, which is just I guess, forget what they're called, but they're the normal sword and board guys, or hammer and board dudes. And I have 3 more there. Does that fill out? No, it only gives me 15 of those guys with 1 extra as like a leader hero dude or something. Might be this cat there with a special helmet. Here, I mean, these guys, 3 of them had snapped off barrels to their rifles. These are 2 of them. And then the other guy was one of these that I have fixed up down here, whose torsos are off. And they were just a little bitty tip of the barrel was just loose in the bag. So definitely search through your bits, bags and stuff, and the bags that these things come in, the boxes, and you'll find things to complete your pieces. But this gives me full 20 of those guys. In all the bat reps I've seen, people are only rocking 2 units of 10, so 2 troops of these guys. Not so sure. Maybe people despise gun lines, which is typically a dwarf thing, a dwarf way to fight. But I don't know. Really, I got this lot basically for the the big fun stuff. The weapons, they're, you know, they are what they are. I've got the crew members, they're loose, and, you know, they still have all their sprue gates kind of on them, the nubs, so we'll have to deal with them. One thing I did see with these happy hoodlums, I was going to go ahead and fully restore the ones that were broken, clean them up and everything, but then I noticed how they were glued together, and I can't fault the guy that put them together. Look at how bad that slip is. It's really forward, and then this arm is terrible. I can't fault the guy. These look pretty abysmal. You know, that's terrible. What I'm thinking I'm gonna have to do is cut the arm off shoulder to elbow and green stuff an arm, because that's too twisted and it's too wrong. So I can push this bit back toward the shoulder blade back here, if I can get this daggone camera to focus. So I can push it back to the shoulder blade. It'll really hug up there. I might actually have to shave that belt buckle down in order to get it, as you know, back to match. And then, like I said, this elbow to shoulder needs to be removed and sculpted. Oh yeah, look at this. You can see a little bit of daylight through there. Oof, that's terrible. But you see how the head's cocked? I'm gonna have to deal with that. I'm gonna have to see how these dwarves are. I've heard so much complaining about the dwarf models. And I know for a fact the guys from Dead Zone, the Steel Warriors and whatnot, they went together really bad. They had gaps in their torsos. You can see daylight straight through. So these guys, I'm sure that they were produced around the same time, 10 years ago when Mantic had its start. And I think it's time to revisit these guys. Of course, I'd love to see Basileia revisited because they're all like almost completely restic, whereas these guys are plastic. But anyway, so the troops I have, you know, 15 units sword and board, 20 of the, they're not iron watch, they're musket dudes, they're dudes with rifles, and then like 24 of the dudes that jack things up, the shield breaker guys. This is work in progress. Like I said, the main thing's keeping me back is trying to pry these off without breaking the resin. If I could leave that guy, I would. This dude needs to come out, man. He's just too close. Too close. Let's get to the exciting stuff that has actually taken me a month of Sundays to do. All right. Well, you kind of saw him. So this is, of course, the Greater Earth Elemental. Last time you saw him, he was stewing in the juice. But I've done his eyes and stomach gem in purple. That's what my daughter wanted me to do. And the rest of the gem's red. That's what I wanted to do, and they're kind of a fiery red. You'll notice I stuck the mushrooms on his base. That came from the tree set. I just put both of them on there. It came from these trees that Mantic offered, these creepy Halloween-esque trees, which will be scattered terrain kind of in my graveyard deal. Now, with this model, I wasn't able to get this arm off this joint. I don't think, no, I did. The only thing I wasn't able to get off was the head. So the head remained in place. Everything else was able to be pulled apart, and I was able to get this crack, you know, split his body in half too. Everything needed a touch of the old blade on it. It's terrible. I will say this. If I do another Earth Elemental, which may happen because I do enjoy the model, all these goofy cracks in this crystal, I'm just going to fill up with green stuff. Ridiculous. Like, and sculpt, they don't even look really like the fine fractures or whatnot. I guess that's part on me to paint it to look like that. But yeah, as it is, I don't know. They just look too thick. The cracks look too thick. Here on this one and that one, I tried a little refract lines. But let me tell you, I spent so long painting crystal lines. Each individual line. This is, you got the base coat, the red. Then I put white mixed with this base coat, just a slight highlight. And I put that around all the edges, everywhere, everything. Then on top of that, I put an orange. And the orange didn't want to take. That actually took the longest time, was to do that orange. I mean, look at all those points. Look at all of it. It's crazy. And up each arm, on the legs. I mean, they're everywhere. It's time. It needs time up really bad. And you know, I kind of wanted to do the light reflecting off of all of it, but I got sick of it. I'm gonna be honest with you. I got sick of doing all that. What I think I'm gonna do, because it doesn't have that true crystal look, the true shine, because I could go, you see how I did the stomach crystal? I could go in and do the light dots of white like I did over there and make it really pop. And same thing with the eyes. I did the eyes the same way. The eyes don't look very fancy, but it's like 4 different types of purple, just like in there. It's quite a bit. And they pop in that recess, and I think it looks good. And the crystals, they do have that fiery look to them that I wanted, but I want more shine, so I think I'm going to go ahead and coat them with varnish. I'm using the Games Workshop stuff. Boo, I know, but the varnish called Ard Coat, that's what I'm using. So that's what I'll do. That way the stone will be matte, the crystals will be gloss, just like you would expect it. Where you look, the light will travel. And you know, I have the colors there. I don't have the white, which, you know, and if I do these, I'm going to do the rest of the crystals gloss coat as well. So that might look a little off because it has the painted white, which the gloss coat will give you that white already. It will reflect the light. This rock on him, super easy. I just did black base coat on everything, dry brush the mess out of it with a dark gray, and then dry brush the lighter gray over that. Easy, no big problem. You don't want to be too heavy with your dry brushes because you want to pick up all that nice undercoat as well. So the dry brushing takes a little while to get used to. And then here, I love how thick these boys are. Man, they look so beefy, especially this dude in the center. He's just heavy looking. I really like these models. And they're metal, of course. I'm thinking they may have moved on to resin, just like what they did with the zombie trolls. So you pick which arms, you pick which, you know, heads. Actually, I popped off every single thing. Brute force mostly. But yeah, I popped everything off, re-glued, and you know, I had to, dude, when it comes to glue, this guy here, inside his crystals, inside there, in the gaps, inside here, between those crystals, there was glue bubbled up. I'm going to tell you about halfway. I don't know why there was glue on the back of these crystals. I don't think these crystals pop off. I don't know why there was glue down here, except for maybe runoff from the shoulder joint here that they would come down and pool here. It's just an amazing amount of glue. I had to take my pin vise and go in there and drill out the glue and then chip out with an X-Acto knife. Sharp X-Acto knives always with resin. But that's what I had to do. So these little bros of that guy, they're not even that little. Look at them. They're just thick and heavy, massive. Oh, I love them. They're going to be a bit more involved because they got the tree trunk here. They've got clear, smooth areas for moss. So they're going to be a bit more in depth. They'll also have, you know, of course, minor gemstones. Not as big as that guy, but like there's some outcroppings on his shoulder there and bits and bobs here and there. But clear vines are like running down his leg and that leg. So roots or whatnot. So they're going to be more muddy, really, than the greater earth elemental was. I still might, I don't know if I want to detract, but I was thinking like making like one of those, like a gold nugget or something. But who knows? These guys, I got 3 of them, and I could go crazy. Like, I mean, he could be the mud one. He only has a stick in there. It looks like a bit of a stone obelisk on his back. Might have some carving, but yeah, there it is right there. You can see it in better relief. Some carving on one of his back stones, but clearly they want moss or something around it, or actual dirt. So with these guys, I can make them look a bit more varied. I just wanted a giant rock monster because who hasn't seen the Neverending Story? I mean, come on. Rockbiter is such a boss dude. And his tricycle, I mean, I want one, parked in my front yard. Yeah, so these are good, strong hands. I couldn't help it. So, yeah, I love giant rock monsters. I despise Privateer Press now after 12 years of collecting and playing and painting their crap. And I still have the War Dwarf. I love it, man. The thing stands maybe this tall, and I went through all the runes and did them all Halloween and stuff, and his base is all leaves and Halloween. I've even got a metal witch on it and everything. But this video is running long, so I've got good. I want to paint it, and this guy's done for the most part. I want to really fix this thing because it's a cool model, and I want to make it alive again and paint it greasy and metal and all the good stuff. These dwarves, to me, basically they were free with the army, or with these 5 models. So basically I bought them for these 5 models, and these guys were just like, yeah. So I don't know. I mean, the Orkin gun is worth it. Cannons, I guess people that play at these things usually miss. If they hit, they're like, woo, I just killed a dude. But yeah, when I had my old dwarf army for Games Workshop, they could have runes on them, and re-rolling runes and all this stuff. Plus they bounce through units, so they were terrifying. And I was really a good shot with these things, but that's because I played ridiculous amounts of games, and I actually like guesstimating ranges, because in a real battlefield situation you don't have tape measure. And let's face it, these guys are not tac ops. They do not have range finders. They're dwarves. They lick their finger, put it in the wind, and then guesstimated windage and elevation. There you go. That's what they did when the Revolutionary War was rocking on and they had the cannons. That's just the technology level that these guys have. Of course, they got walking robots, so who knows. But anyway, yeah, so that's everything. You guys take it easy. I'll talk to you later. Carry your lays on.